What you got for me, Ted Hicks? I just have a couple of questions as far as the vaccination process. You've been vaccinated, correct? From what I see in the chat room.
Yeah, yes. I want to say welcome to HAPS. And yes,
Very
I've
much.
been vaccinated.
Thank you very much, sir. Big up to Haps TV. I'm kind of new to this platform, so actually do follow you, and I do tune into your show, Late Night Parents. Um, Thank you for your support and
Thank you.
bringing me on your panel. So now let's get to the
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Let's get to the question, man.
Yeah, real quick. So when you go to get vaccinated, what is the exact process? Just run me through it real quick and I'll let you go. I see that you're kind of on the
Uh,
move right now.
yeah. So what here's what well, it's a different world now. I mean, I
Okay.
know that that term is overly used, but back I was vaccinated back in January. So back in January, you had to contact a place that was, providing vaccinations. And a lot of times it wasn't your standard, hospital. It was like pop-up shops, like how you have pop-up shops. So I was vaccinated at a church. So what you do is beforehand, you call a specific number. You
Okay.
speak with someone. They take down all your information. Now this is back when there were, how do we say it? Like, you had to be a certain age, you had to have a pre-existing condition, you had to do this, you had to do that. So you
Pre-qualification.
had to right. So you had to provide all your information,
Okay.
and then at that point, they would set an appointment date for you.
Okay.
Um, and then from there, you get to the place at the time, and hopefully you get there prior to, so that that stuff can be verified. But the one thing I did notice is whether or not, in a lot of cases, whether or not you did pre-register, they weren't turning anyone away.
Okay.
So at the end of the, your first initial encounter, they give you a card. They
Okay.
give you a card with your information on it, personally identifiable information on it, um, with your name, your date of birth, all this other stuff, and the different type of vaccine that you're receiving, Moderna, or Pfizer, and this is before the J&J. Now, at that point, you keep that card with you for both shots,
Okay.
for both of your dates, and then that card gets signed off, and then you are fully vaccinated. Some people are taking stickers. It's kind of like the whole "I voted" scenario. And what
Okay.
you would do is keep that with you. But there was a lot of things that were happening after that. People was like, "Oh, take it to a Staples or Office Max, get it laminated," because that card previously was
Okay.
your only way of showing that you've been vaccinated. But in specific states nowadays, I just want to
Okay.
let you know this, that they have something called vaccination passports, which are digital vaccination passports,
Okay.
where on any city or state, depending on the governor, whether it's a Democratic or a Republican governor,
Okay.
you'll know that that's available. So it's extended beyond the paper, because you can lose that piece of paper, or that piece of paper could be, it could be counterfeit.
Facts.
So
You have some, yes.
you have a digital footprint of, yes, this is who you were, and you can get in anywhere. So that's why you hear a lot of stuff about, oh, capacity is at 100%, because that's for fully vaccinated people. So
Yes.
when you hear about venues being, oh, we're open 100% for vaccinated people,
Copy.
so
As far as like sporting event venues, yes, I do have something
yes.
on the. I do have something a clip on the New York. As far as New York State is concerned, I do have something for that actually coming up. Perfect timing on that. So that's as far as sporting events. Yankee Stadium, New York Knicks, XYZ, whatever your local team is. Depending on what political party is running your City. So okay, copy. With that being said, thank you very much for your time, sir.
All right.
Anything else you got? Where can we anybody listening, where can we reach you at?
Best way to reach me is latenightparents.com. You go to latenightparents.com, you'll find Twitter handles, Facebook feeds, YouTube feeds, hat feeds, blogs, all the above. So the site to remember is latenightparents.com. Thanks again. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Ted Hicks in the building real quick. Gotta throw that in there. Just hit him with everything. Just hit him with everything. So he mentioned the digital passport. I actually do have that in the chamber. Digital passport. Let's go into the digital passport. Let's see what we got here. Because that is something we actually one of the guests on last Sunday, I believe I had that conversation with True last Sunday on the cast live, and I did bring up the digital passport scenario. So it turns out that like Mr. Hicks alluded to, there are some articles out there about that. Let's go into it.
Here to have these vaccine passports offered.
Thank you, Frank. And absolutely, it's exciting. You know, fewer than 10% of Manhattan's 1 million office workers are back. Our travel and tourism industries are still way down. Our hotels are half empty. So it really makes a difference that New York State has come up with the Excelsior Pass, which will validate by your phone the fact that you've had a full vaccination. And that's a much better system. You know, these are the CDC paper cards that are easy for anybody to print and not a safe way to regulate. So this is a very important breakthrough using technology and using the fact that we are we have the ability to really validate through the State Department of Health that you are vaccinated.
Okay, I paused that for a second. So from what I understand she's talking about is a digital passport, as in a way like leaving a digital footprint, and you're able to trace it and reference it by way of cell phone. So for example, if you are vaccinated, you can now have a digital footprint which is accessible through your cell phone, from what I understand, and you can show it at the I guess at the door of the event that you're attending. By the way, everybody, this show is live. This is a live show, 5:23 p.m. Secondhand Smoke, which is a spinoff of Sunday Night Smoke podcast. This is an extension of last Sunday's 2V or Not 2V podcast. This is They Live, 2V or Not 2V Part 2. Hello from Virginia Beach. True or More in the building. True, what's up, man? Talk to me. I actually was on the topic that we spoke about. You want to pull up? True or More in the building, y'all. True or More, you want to pull up? We was actually on. I actually just mentioned you, so you're gonna live a long time. I'm gonna. I don't want to put him on the spot like this. You're a previous guest. I've been on your platform before. You want to pull up? Let me send you an invite. Invite user. Bam. I sent you an invite if you want to pull up. This is just an you don't have to set up cameras. This is an audio show. This is just a radio show right here. And we just giving some little visuals. Also live. This is a live show. You can call in 515-602-9602. That's one thing. Secondhand Smoke / Sunday Night Smoke podcast. We always come to you live and the phone lines are always open. because we want full. We just basically want full. This is a show for the people. I don't do this for me. I don't have a I don't have a particular political affiliation. I don't have an agenda. If you notice, if you listen to my show, I'll pull up clips from both conservative and liberal platforms, and I just want that to be known. I don't have any particular affiliation. I'm for the people. The people are mixed. It's a mixed audience. Everybody has their own opinions and views, and that's what this show is all about. So, without burning your ears off, we're gonna jump right back into this. Let's go.
So, Catherine, I got to ask. Obviously, technology is a great way to aggregate information, but that information, like you mentioned, is out there. People have cards, or somebody can say that they're vaccinated. A lot of data to absorb, I guess. Cases on the rise in recent days, while vaccine rollouts happening. Just a lot to think about before night out. Just kind of simply, what does this passport do? What does it provide that will everybody can, I guess, agree on, that could make us all feel comfortable? Like, we all know what a green light means. We all know what a red light means. What does this passport provide that gives us that same kind of, ubiquity and also comfort?
Well, again, the CDC has a record of everyone who's gotten a vaccine, the number of your dose, the source of your dose, all the specifics. They keep that record. They can share that record only with the State Department of Health. In turn, in New York State, the State Department of Health is not going to share your information. All they're going to do is validate that you have had the proper dosage of the vaccine, and they know what date you had it. So this is an important breakthrough. I mean, many people don't realize we're probably going to have booster shots for this vaccine for the rest of our lives. So a single card is not going to do the trick. It's going to have to be updated. But the privacy is maintained through an IBM blockchain system. There's no question of releasing health data to any sources. So this is a very secure system. And it will be able to sit on top of other systems. We have, for example, for a number of years had a private company, Clear, that's New York based, that has had a TSA pass so that you can get expedited clearance when you go into an airport to get on an airplane. That's the same idea. It's your ID plus your health pass. The Excelsior Pass could sit on top of those kind of interventions so that you would carry one ID,
All right,
all
Catherine,
in your phone.
again, a really exciting development. I'm glad you addressed the privacy concerns. That was going to be my other question. We have to get going in just a second. But before we let you go, which industry or which business do you see benefiting the most from these vaccine passports?
Listen
At least
closely.
immediately?
Well, across the board, I think everybody's going to benefit. The first thing we want to do is get the office workers back in the buildings. And to do that, you basically have to have a universal pass so that you're not just going with the system that's health check in your office. You've got a universal ability to move around the city. That's the city's competitive advantage, that we're able to navigate it. The vaccine pass is going to be able to do that. So we're excited to have it available.
Shepard's.
Okay. So there, that wraps up that gives the information on, that was an article on how New York City rolls out the vaccine passport plan. And that's courtesy of CNBC television. So there you have it, pretty much. Whether this creates a two-tier system as far as people not being able to include themselves in certain events and certain things that they used to be able to partake in everyday life, that may put like a cap on what we do. True, I'll see you. I'm gonna I'm gonna pull you up in 2 seconds here, sir. I'll pull you up in a second. And that pretty much creates a two-tier system, and where that you know, it takes away an aspect of life that we were once used to living. So now you may be relegated to not doing certain things because of your non-confidence in taking a vaccine. And as you see in the thumbnail, also one more thing, hang tight, True. One more thing that I want to bring up. When it comes to smaller venues and attendance in smaller venues, how do you regulate who is vaccinated and who is not? Because you can actually have people mixed in, as in the thumbnail. You see some people you can have mixed in unvaccinated with those that are vaccinated, but we have no idea of knowing, I guess, unless you present a vaccine card. And I guess that's the first version of verification of vaccination. Those can be fraudulently counterfeited, as the young lady alluded to in the interview. That could be, but I'm not encouraging anything like that. I guess there's some kind of barcode or something that they could scan on it, as well as the vaccine passport. Let me bring True up right now. True, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, how you doing, brother?
Good, good. How you going? What's going on?
True or more in the house, y'all. This is a straight radio show, so there's no audio. I mean, no video. So
Oh, okay.
you don't have to worry about adjusting cameras or anything of that nature. This is a straight radio cast.
Okay, great.
So how's everything doing with you, brother?
I can't complain. It's been a week.
Okay.
I'm glad it's Friday.
Hey man, listen, it's all good. It's all good. Somebody got to do it. Thank God it's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Happy Friday, everybody. Do me a favor, turn your volume down just a notch. True. Turn your volume down
How's
just
that?
a notch. A little bit more. I'm not sure. You know, my tech game is trash. So I'm not sure how to
I
hold
got
on.
you.
Let me take you back down here. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to yeah, just a notch. But it's you pulled up at the perfect time. Because I was just gonna hit a few points and pull up out of here. But I was alluding to that you were on the panel last Sunday, and we were talking about the digital passport thing. I'm not sure if you heard the article I just played on that, because I was able to
No, I missed it. Give me a quick
let me spin it back. I could actually spin it back. For those of us that are joining us late, Secondhand Smoke, which is the spinoff of Sunday Night Smoke podcast, where we continue on from the previous episode, which was last Sunday, 2V or not 2V. This is part 2, They Live. Let me spin that interview back for you real quick, True. Actually, I brought up a question about digital passport, and I basically found something on that, and I was researching it. So I just said, you know what, let me just pull this back up because it was interesting. So let me just run it by you, break
really
half of it down
exciting
real quick to
development
you.
here to have these vaccine
Hang tight.
passports offered.
Thank you, Frank. And absolutely, it's exciting. You know, fewer than 10% of Manhattan's 1 million office workers are back. Our travel and tourism industries are still way down. Our hotels are half empty. So it really makes a difference that New York State has come up with the Excelsior Pass, which will validate by your phone the fact that you've had a full vaccination. And that's a much better system. You know, these are the CDC paper cards that are easy for anybody to print and not a safe way to regulate. So this is a very important breakthrough using technology and using the fact that we are we have the ability to really validate through the State Department of Health that you are vaccinated.
Did you catch that, True?
Yeah, it sounds like they're implying that the federal standard is bullshit. Excuse the language.
Hang on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Tony D, I see you in the chat. Tony D in the chat. Tony D, I sent you an invite if you want to pull up. This is a radio show, straight audio, no video. Pull up. You're welcome. He was on the original panel. Tony D, he was on the original panel from last week's original discussion. This is continued. True. Right back to you. Sorry for cutting you short.
No, you good. It sounds like political speak to me, right? So they want to, and it makes sense that you want to make sure everyone is vaccinated in these public places, but you can't make them do it, right? And because we're the land of the free, right? Like North Korea can make you stay inside.
Facts.
Right. So like even England has a very different system than we do. So before you start like telling people what they can do, you're gonna have to fight through 1,000 lawyers and precedent and Supreme Court cases who may or may not hear it. It's like it's off the rails. Right. And then not only that, but you'll have 1,000 of those doing that kind of thing. So
exactly.
Man, I don't know if you can. I don't know how they're gonna handle this. I just don't know.
All right, check it out. All right, so let me jump in this real quick. All right, now I got a couple of questions. By the way, people, we're live 5:36 p.m. on a Friday night. Happy Friday, everybody. Secondhand Smoke, the podcast spinoff, Sunday Night Smoke. Sunday Night Smoke every Sunday, 8 p.m. Sorry to keep going into these plugs. We got some people pulling up. Tony D. Let's see. We are live. Like I say, the phone number is 515-602-9602. Tony D in the house.
Yo,
Tony D, you on. Tony D, everybody. Back in the building.
What's up? You gotta excuse me, man. I just woke up from a nap and saw you was on, so my apologies, man. What's going on?
Listen, big up to the hardworking men that keep America going.
Fact. Yeah.
America is built on hard labor.
Right. True. What's good, bro? How you living?
Where you at, True?
I'm here. What's up?
What's happening? How you doing, bro?
Good. How you doing?
All right. I see Ted's in the chat. Ted, what's good? All right, let me see where you at, bro. Talk to me.
Okay, we were on revisiting the digital passports. Some information that I pulled up after the conversation that we had on last weekend Sunday's podcast of Sunday Night Smoke. I brought up a question to True Armor. True Armor, how are we feeling about the possibility of a two-tier society where people are limited to do certain things if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated? We were talking about the possibility of travel restrictions where we brought in the digital passport. And I did mention on a reference that it was rumored to be, but now this article courtesy of CNBC News confirms what rumors I had talked about. Because like I say, I don't want to be quoted on anything that I don't have a credible source to reference. How do you feel? Digital passports.
It's going to be a bias. It's going to be a prejudice. It's going to start a discrimination. It's going to start a segregation, all of that. And honestly, whether you're vaccinated or not has already started a divide amongst people. Some people are taking it personal, whether you got vaccinated or not. The only thing right now is everybody needs to realize just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't catch it. Vaccination is going to be to keep you from having severe conditions, provided you do contract it, but everybody's still catching it, everybody's still passing it. So the vaccination is getting blown out of proportion in a lot of people's eyes. People are tired of the quarantine, the isolation, the separation, but most people aren't prepared to deal with getting sick if they catch it. So we got a real big, ugly catch-22. You don't necessarily have to be 100% vaccinated in the United States, even though the president tells you get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do. And other places are going to have vaccination restrictions. We got
Yes.
a real big issue with that. We and I remember saying that before. It may not be here that you're gonna have a problem with. It may be where you go. States are carrying it, private businesses are carrying it, cities are carrying it, others aren't. You know, it's going to be up to you, your underlying conditions, and how they handle themselves.
Exactly. Now, every state has its own moving here forward. Now, let's see. Let's hit the chat for a second. Chat room. We got some people watching. We got 25 eyes on. We got eyes on us. You know, we got, shout out, pull up. Don't be scared. This is what we
Right.
do here.
Right.
This is uncensored.
Your audio's going in and out, bro.
Is that better? Filtered adult radio. There's no censorship here.
Right.
This is a people's show.
Well, there is censorship. So
I'm sorry. Pick me back up. Pick me back up. True. I'm sorry. We dropped.
no, I'm
out
just
for
saying
one
that there
second.
is censorship. You just can't. I mean, some of this stuff may
Don't
you gotta
go
you
off
gotta
the rails.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. we don't want it to sound like it's misinformation or anything.
Don't
but,
go off the rails. No.
But
I mean, it's censored as far as we're not. Me myself, as the host of my show, I'm not going to censor what you or anybody that calls in has to
I
say.
feel you.
Now, if I get a strike or I get the episode pulled from certain platforms that this streams to, so be it.
Right.
Because that's not what this show is about. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, I got you.
I accept the liability as far as if my channel gets a restriction, but also as a disclaimer, the people's comments and what their opinions are not necessarily opinions that are mine or of the Sunday Night Smoke or Secondhand Smoke podcast. You understand what I mean? So people just can say what they say because this is what this country is based upon. So moving forward with that, fuck, it is what it is. You heard? That's what it is. So go ahead, man. You know, it is what it is. So like I say, I'm just picking back up. Let me just finish diving into this because Tony D, you pulled up late. So let me just finish diving into this. Hang tight, fellas. Listen to this. Hear this out. Hang on one second. I'm sorry about that.
Yo, I'm rolling through the comments too. Did you send Ted an invite?
He pulled up. You missed him already. He came on. He pulled up early.
Yeah, I'm super late. My bad. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm sorry for those volume. What's the name? Yeah, it's all good. Don't worry. We're gonna finish this right here. Let's go back into it.
You good?
People have cards, or somebody can say that they're vaccinated. A lot of data to kind of absorb, I guess. Cases on the rise in recent days while vaccine rollouts happening. Just a lot to think about before night out. Just kind of simply, what does this passport do? What does it provide that everybody can, I guess, agree on that could make us all feel comfortable? Like, we all know what a green light means. We all know what a red light means. What does this passport provide that gives us that same kind of, ubiquity and also comfort?
Well, again, the CDC has a record of everyone who's gotten a vaccine, the number of your dose, the source of your dose, all the specifics. They keep that record. They can share that record only with the State Department of Health. In turn, in New York State, the State Department of Health is not going to share your information I mean, many people don't realize we're probably going to have booster shots for this vaccine for the rest of our lives. So a single card is not going to through an IBM blockchain system. There's no question of releasing health data to any sources. So this is a very secure system, and it will be able to sit on top of other systems. We have, for example, for a number of years had a private company, Clear, that's New York based, that has had a TSA pass so that you can get expedited clearance when you go into an airport to get on an airplane.
Okay. 612. Let me jump to the caller queue. Let's see what we got here live. Let's see. Hang on 1 second here. (612-70). You live, secondhand smoke. What you got for us? 612 live. You want to speak or you just listening to the show? 612-701. You live. Maybe they're just listening.
Right.
Okay. Let me clip that. All right, let me pull back in. All right. So sorry about that if you were just listening. Because there are people just listening. Okay, so what do you think, Tony D? Let's get back in the mix, baby. What we got?
She said something about the type of technology. Did she say blockchain technology?
Let me see. I
Right when
believe
that woman was speaking.
I'm not. You know what? I don't want to quote her on it. I can pull it back up, but I believe so.
After she says it, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you where it's at, so you can stop it. I don't want to hear the whole thing. I just got to hear what she said one more time.
Yeah, let me pull it back. Hang on 1
Please,
second. Let me
appreciate
pull this back. Yeah, no problem, brother.
That's the same,
Let's see.
and they know what date you had it. So this is an important breakthrough. I mean, many people don't realize we're probably going to have booster shots for this
Was it
vaccine for
before
the
this
rest of
point?
the
Let's see.
Keep going. Let it keep
In
going.
turn, in New York State,
I'm gonna bring it all the way back.
Department of Health
No, you
is
good. Let
not
it go.
going to
All right,
share
here we
your
go.
information. All they're going to do is validate that you have had the proper dosage of the vaccine and they know what date you had it. So this is an important breakthrough. I mean, many people don't realize we're probably going to have booster shots for this vaccine for the rest of our lives. So a single card is not going to do the trick. It's going to have to be updated. But the privacy is maintained through an IBM blockchain system.
That was it.
There you go.
That was it.
I believe she said it, but she just that was just reconfirmed. Like I said, I don't like to misquote people. You just not heard it.
I got to
Give me-
Google what
give
she
it-
said on that. I got to Google because blockchain means something else to me, and that's what caught my eye. Not to cut you off, and I apologize, but
Sure, pull it up.
her
We-
saying that caught my eye. I'm about to look
We
it
all-
up right now. Go ahead and
Tony
ask.
D, we on live. Pull that up on your phone. Pull that up. Excuse me. Let me get back up here. Pull that up on your phone. We on here live. We got time. We just
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you a question.
holla.
Are you familiar with the blockchain system?
I'm definitely not. So that's why I asked you to pull it up while we on live.
What's up? Yeah. What's up,
Ain't
Ted?
no-
I see you, bro. Let me tell
ain't
you
no
what
future
blockchain system means
in
to
front.
me.
Speak, brother.
Blockchain system
Mm-hmm.
is also a system that they're using for cryptocurrency, which clicked in my head because I heard there was a conspiracy between the vaccines and crypto. That's what I'm halfway looking at right now. Oh my God.
I saw you one crypto on the topic on that before. Go ahead,
Yes.
continue. Mm-hmm.
IBM blockchain supply chain solutions use smart contracts that automatically trigger when predefined business conditions are met. Ain't that about a bitch?
We
This
finding
gives
out.
me a real-time visibility into operations and the ability to take action earlier should there be an exception. You got listeners who are in on this info, and you probably got listeners who are into conspiracies.
Copy.
I think
Sure, but nobody chat.
No.
Speak up. We got people in
they
here.
don't want to
Talk to us.
because people getting
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't
taken
want
out.
to.
No, you good. I'm just trying to see how I can work them two together. But when she said it, it caught my eye. It caught my eye. It
Yeah,
caught
she
my eye.
definitely she definitely said that. Blockchain. Yeah. Because I was unfamiliar to the technology. So I'm glad that you made that you brought a little clarity to that. Damn, we 2 weeks, man. We serious over here. You know what I mean? This is serious. This is you know what I'm saying? Big up to Sirius Radio. Not the literal, not figuratively, but literally. Like, you know, this is a comedy show, but like this yeah, this is an entertainment. This is kind of like a comedy show where we tackle some serious issues, but this is like nothing to joke about in all actual reality. So we've been on a serious train for a couple of seconds. Chat room, let's see. Let's pull back up. Let's see. Let's try this again. Maybe they're live, maybe they're not. 602. I mean, excuse me, 6127. You live, Sunday Night Smoke.
Yeah, this is good information.
Yeah. there's a catch to this. I'm telling you, there's a strong catch to this, and I haven't been able to confirm none of it until she just said that. That just caught me in one direction, straight up.
Yeah, I'm sorry I stumbled on some new evidence, but you know, we had a very serious discussion last Sunday night, and thank you guys for coming, for pulling up last Sunday and providing some nice input to the conversation, and so I felt compelled to look into a few topics that were brought up, and this is what I found.
Well, Ted dropped a really good link in the chat, and one of the
Yes.
section is, what can I do if the information I have doesn't agree with what trusted organizations say?
What do you feel about that?
And it says, if it comes across that if you come across information that does not agree with what trusted organizations say, comma,
Mhm.
first examine your source of information closely.
Facts.
Okay. As we discussed, and look for red flags. Everyone has different red flags, right? After that, use your judgment. Ask yourself, what is different about this information? Is it backed up by scientific evidence? That right there is the nail burn bite. If the answers to these questions are problematic, then consider whether the source of information has a conflict of interest or a reason to present biased information. So yeah, pretty good. We can only go by what our trusted organizations say.
Well, it depends on the level of trust,
Exactly.
for one.
And what is a trusted organization? And who's doing the metric for what is a trusted organization? Lord, oh my God, the whole paragraph is hysterical to me. But yeah, it makes perfectly good sense if you don't read too much into it.
Oh my God. Well, it depends on what your definition of trust is.
Exactly.
Tony D, I see you in the lab right here. What you you pulling up something? Talk to me.
Blockchain defined. Blockchain is a shared immutable ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets in the business network. An asset can be tangible, parentheses, a house, car, cash, land, close parentheses, or intangible, parentheses, intellectual property, patents, copyrights, branding, close parentheses. Virtually anything of value can be tracked and traded on a blockchain network, reducing risk and cutting costs for all involved. So I'm looking at the definition behind blockchain, and I'm looking at what Ted said.
Okay.
I'm going to have to look some more into this, but that terminology is about to be used a lot more, and I'm hearing it being used more than once, especially that in smart contracts. So like I said, I'm just trying to put my focus on it to see if I can understand it better, but something's clicking when she said that, bro.
Now, later on in the interview, she a question posed to her was, who looks to profit the most from this situation?
Bingo. Now we're getting somewhere. Y'all must have saw Black Dynamite when they started putting their heads together. You're doing it already. You're doing it now. Who profits the most? Exactly.
Who profits the most? And let me pull up her explanation on this. Let's see, where was we at? Who profits? That was a question that he had presented. Let's see where we at with it.
That was going to be my other question. We have to get going in just a second. But before we let you go, which industry or which business do you see benefiting the most from these vaccine passports, at least immediately?
Well, across the board, I think everybody's going to benefit. The first thing we want to do is get the office workers back in the buildings. And to do that, you basically have to have a universal pass so that you're not just going with the system that's health check in your office. You've got a universal ability to move around the city. That's the city's competitive advantage, that we're able to navigate it. The vaccine pass is going to be able to do that. So we're excited to have it available.
Shepard.
There you go.
Already.
I'm sorry about the volume. What's the name here? My board is a little jammed up. Tony D, could you bring your volume down one notch when you pull back up? Bring your volume down one notch. True, what you think? Well, True, yeah, we heard it the first time. Holla, True, talk to me.
I was sort of, I don't know. I don't know, man. You got to trust some people, right? It's the government. It's not like everything the government says is a lie.
Not everything. Not everything. We got to trust them. Big up the government, man. This is not a
Right.
anti-establishment show. We look at things
Right.
from all sides of the spectrum. We looking at things from all over. It's not a
Right.
like this is just a
Right.
people's show.
Right. I'm sorry.
Like I'm sure I
I didn't
have
want to come up.
conservative, I have conservative and liberal viewers on my
Right.
radio
No,
show
right.
and
I
listeners.
didn't mean to come across as implying.
No, nothing. All good. All good.
So, but my point is that if you begin to parse everything, it's weird because I've been thinking about going to. I haven't gotten it. And I was thinking about going to get it, and I was like, which one is the better one? Is Pfizer one? Is Johnson?
Take your time, do your research.
There's Moderna. Oh yeah, I'm all about research. So, I was just kind of like, man, every now and then you have to bite the bullet, and you don't want to be. At least me, I don't want to be.
Go ahead.
I don't want to be. What's the word I'm looking for? A contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. You know what I mean?
Sacrificial lamb. Just say the damn thing. You don't want to be a sacrificial lamb.
Man, I got a whole bunch of really good reasons to not trust this government.
I'll take my
A whole
time.
bunch of really good reasons. Exactly. So, like I've always said about summer. So, yeah, but now it's getting ridiculous. People are giving away lottery tickets in cases of malt liquor if you freaking go get a shot. It's just outrageous. Outrageous.
Big up to New York. Hold on,
my
True. Big up to New York State. Front page news. $5 million lottery
Yeah, oh my God.
for the lucky.
And did you see the numbers? That lottery didn't even make any sense.
So we
it's like 20 people. One
Look,
guy
man,
gets 500, then he goes to 1,000, then he goes to 2,000, then it jumps to like half a million.
everybody got to live. We can't dump this all. We can't dump, but you know what it is? I didn't. I'm not going to say I read the article.
At giving away
but it's
money.
good that
you
it's
don't need
split
to give
up. We got
one
to split it
person
up.
$5 million in a pandemic.
No,
you
it's good
give
to split it up.
100,000, 20,000. You know what I mean? I mean,
But isn't the lottery based on that though?
No,
like,
but if the idea of it, but the idea of it is always the same.
Make it the lucky 100 shots.
No, but it's the idea that these people don't know what the people that they're trying to ingratiate themselves to want or need, right? So if I can get 2 minutes of your air, I'll explain this to you. I was talking to my boy about the new weed legalization. And like, so now an ounce is legal to carry and 2 ounces here. And we were laughing our heads off because the guys who are making this legal don't know essentially that an ounce of weed will roll you like 50 joints. Right? So if I'm walking around with an ounce of weed on me, and it's like
big up to nigga walking around with an ounce.
Right, exactly. So you can have an ounce at your house, and I can buy an ounce a day. That was like guns, right? I can buy a gun a day, and I can buy an ounce. At the end of a week, I can have like a pound of weed in my house. You know what I mean? I can roll 1,000 joints and just bake myself to stupidity. Just because these, like the people who are making like, well, we want to decriminalize it. How much should we make?
God.
Like, so you give you enough, and it makes sense to give you enough that you don't need to keep going back out, and you give you a lot, and then you make it cheap, so you suck out all the crime and criminality of drugs, right? So if I can buy a pound of weed for like $5, then nobody's going to be smuggling that stuff anymore. Just because it's so dirt cheap, and that's on everything. You can do it with heroin, right? So that's the funniness. So they're up in all of these different state capitals going, all right, we're looking bad with this weed thing. How much is legal? And I'm sure they had an aide who was like just out of college, who must have been like 24, who was like, oh yeah, an ounce. Oh no, dude, 2. I should have said 5 ounces. What was that? And now like an ounce to 2 ounces, you know. And I just find it hysterical how the whole thing went down. And I just started thinking, how could this have possibly played out?
Now, look, no, them niggas ain't even know. Check it out. I have people getting what an ounce was that knew the measurement, but didn't know the physical composition of the amount of what the ounce was. Possibly. I'm figuring that they would do better than that, but if that was the case,
I don't
You
get
know
me
what I'm
wrong.
saying? If that
I
was the
think they could have
case,
talked to people. I mean, they know cops. They could have
I'm
talked to
sure they
people.
did their real research. I know. I'm
Ain't
fucking around. I'm
trying.
fucking around. I'm fucking around. I'm
Right,
fucking around.
right.
But check it out. Now here's another thing. A couple of weeks ago, we had a show on prostitution on this very same on the Sunday Night Smoke podcast. About a month ago, we had a show on prostitution. Now, I'm just talking from New York. Now, New York, right now, they have plans coming down the pipeline. We don't mean to spin off. But this is a vaccine. This is to be or not to be. This is the vaccine show, but we're just talking about basically. This is a real quick. I just want to touch on this for a quick minute. Decriminalizing of marijuana. Now, if that's the case now, right? Why didn't they just continue to treat it as like we're just not going to prosecute you if you're caught with a say, like you said, the word 1 ounce. If you're caught with
Well,
1 ounce, we're not gonna treat you criminal. Wait, hold on. We're not gonna criminally charge you if you're caught with 1 ounce. But if you're caught with more, we're gonna say, all right, just conspiring to sell, or you're a dealer, quote unquote,
right,
or
right.
whatever, right? They could have continued to do that, but instead, since there was possibly big money to make now, right? That's why decriminalizing it may be better because it can be taxed, and I can understand that can work to the states. But does that money funnel back into the community that is most supporting the business? Number one. Number two, is that a ploy? Because as we see this happening from state to state to state to state, is that a ploy to keep America
There's always
high
but
so
there's
they're
always
not paying attention to what's really going on around them? Now,
what are
real
you
quick, just
talking
give me a
about?
quick 1 minute hit, and then just gonna jump back on the vax real quick, and I'm gonna
First of
carry us
all,
out with something. Go ahead.
the majority of the country doesn't even vote. So it's for saying to keep the country high so they don't know what's going on is just counterproductive when it's actually going on.
But listen, but we got generations to come. But listen, as we go
That's
forward, the baby boomers will die off, Generation Xers will die off, and then we have a society that has grown up since their 20s, that grow into their 40s, into their
the
50s
same
and
thing about
60s,
us.
that came up in a legal recreational weed society.
Maybe they'll be a
Where
little more
that type of
disciplined about
thing,
drugs. They'll see a couple of
maybe
friends
they
fall off and
won't.
they'll be
Maybe they'll
okay.
just be
Well,
high as a kite.
okay. Well, then there you have it. Then they
But
deserve to loot the place. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the country's been around for 20. The country's been around for 240 years, and
Facts.
a whole lot of people thought that the next generation was going to destroy the place, and they haven't. Everybody
Facts.
likes to hate the next generation. They hated us
I don't
when we
hate
were
anything. I
teenagers.
love it.
I'm not saying you personally, but they gave us drama when we were teenagers. I always tell people my grandfather didn't like doo-wop that my dad loved, and my dad didn't like jazz that much. And I'm pretty sure that my great grandfather didn't like whatever the heck my grandfather was listening to. And I'm
Perfect
pretty
timing.
sure my father hated hip hop when I was madly in love with it. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect
So
timing. Now check
it's
this out. I'm
yeah.
sorry. You just let me into Sunday's show. You just let me into Sunday's show, which is hip hop junkies from rap to crap.
And I can't wait for it. Go ahead.
Now, before you respond to that, now, right? Before you respond to that, hip hop junkies from rap to crap. That's gonna be this Sunday's smoke. So if you guys are free, you can pull up. You always feel free to pull up. But check this out. I'm gonna jump back into this vaccine thing right here, right? Just to pull us up out of here. I'd like to thank you guys for rejoining us. I'm sorry if we went off the rails from the vaccine to legalizing things XYZ, but it all plays into one particular scenario, right? Worst case scenario, and this is not fear mongering or anything of that nature. Worst case scenario, because I see memes. Like, for example, have you ever seen the famous meme when the Popeye chicken sandwich took off? And it was a meme of a gremlin or like a troll. And it says, anybody that ate the Popeye chicken sandwich 5 years later. I guess it's not that funny. Anyway,
I didn't see it yet.
Just in case. No, this was when the Popeye thing. That was like pre health crisis, when the Popeye chicken sandwich took off. That was like in 2019, I believe.
Right.
But basically, with legalizing things, number one, like prostitution, recreational marijuana, things of that nature, are we losing? And for example, does let me phrase, let me slow down, and I'm gonna lay this out nice and slow. With the addition of gun control, right, and the addition of decriminalizing prostitution, recreational marijuana, is that a possible long-term way to sedate people and unarm them at the same time? We'll get to that on another show. Last but not least on this, vaccine thing, I want to take you out with Representative Jim Jordan, and these are some critical questions that on the back end, opposed to the jokes and things we make on the show, these are some critical questions that you need to think about and ask yourself moving forward regarding the entire pandemic, and for those that are conscious to or feel that, I won't say I'm adding fuel to conspiracy theorists or anything of that nature, but these are just questions that we need to ask ourselves looking forward. I'm gonna take us out of that show with this because we're at 1 hour. I want to thank True Armor for pulling up. True, where can we reach you at? Where can we see your podcasts, gaming XYZ? Where you at? Where can we reach you at? True, you hear me? I don't get no volume for you. True.
Yeah, hey, I'm sorry about that. I was muted. I'm on YouTube as True S Armor, True S Armor, no E, and I'm on Twitch as Karma Arma, ARMA. So yeah, catch me where you catch me.
Thanks everybody once again. True Armor in the building.
Thanks.
Thank you for pulling up, my brother. I'm gonna let me pull Tony D up. Let's see where we at. Tony D, are you still with us in the building?
I'm here. I was walking around, so forgive me, but I'm here, bro.
All good. We're just gonna leave us before we pull out of here. I'm just gonna leave us with an audio clip to pull out of here with, just for food for thought moving forward. And this is some powerful information to those that feel that way. Tony D, where can we reach you at social media wise?
Everybody on Haps, just follow me up here, Tony D on Haps. I got some other social media platforms, but I'm gonna keep what we got going on right here. No disrespect to nobody, just trying to keep everything separate and keep a focus on where I'm at with what I'm doing. So anybody up here can reach me up here.
Tony D, everybody. Okay, fellas, thanks for pulling up once again to continue this good conversation that we were having last week and last Sunday's episode. Catch me live Sunday Night Smoke podcast every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, thanks, True Armor, Tony D, for pulling up.
Peace.
Peace, bro.
All right. I'm gonna leave us with one last clip right here. This is just for food for thought. As we roll up out of here, this is Representative Jim Jordan giving us some what he feels valuable information.
Jordan. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll have question second round for Mr. Kramer, but first round here, I wanted to focus on a fundamental question. Why don't
We lost you, bro.
Health and Human Services, Becerra, former colleague of ours, said, quote, "We have to understand how COVID surfaced, but the select committee in Congress on COVID doesn't want to know." Journalists want to know. Josh Rogan, Washington Post column 2 weeks ago, he starts his column off by quoting our colleague, Congressman Gallagher. "Understanding the cause of the pandemic and ensuring that something like it never happens again is the most important question we face." He goes on to say this: "The Republicans are taking the first steps in a long overdue effort, but without backing from Democrats, who are conspicuously absent from these efforts, the investigations will struggle." Very true. The Select Committee on the Coronavirus won't look into how coronavirus started. I find that fascinating. I find that amazing. Nicholas Wade, former New York Times science writer, said this when looking at the two scenarios. He says, quote, "It's a stretch to get the pandemic to break out naturally outside of Wuhan and then without leaving a trace to make its first appearance in Wuhan." But he says this, for the lab escape scenario, a Wuhan origin for the virus is a no-brainer. Wuhan is home to China's leading center for coronavirus research. Researchers were genetically engineering bat coronaviruses to attack human cells. They were doing so under minimal safety conditions. If the virus with an unexpected infectiousness had been generated there, its escape would be no surprise. Journalists want to know. Secretary of State wants to know. Secretary of Health and Human Services want to know, journalists want to know, Republicans want to know, Americans want to know. Why don't Democrats in Congress want to know where this thing started? Is it because Speaker Pelosi called it a diversion last year when we were raising these questions and asking to have these witnesses brought in front of us? Or maybe it's because Dr. Fauci, the all-knowing Dr. Fauci, who Mr. Rogan in his piece said has, quote, repeatedly thrown cold water on the lab leak theory, maybe Dr. Fauci would have to answer some tough questions if we actually dug into how this thing started.
Fair use, everybody.
Remember,
This is
Dr.
fair
Fauci
use.
gave EcoHealth $3 million. EcoHealth then gave $600,000 to the Wuhan lab. Did Dr. Fauci know about this arrangement when he okayed the grant? Did Dr. Fauci know the Wuhan lab did not operate with the highest level of safety standards as reported by our own State Department personnel in China? How about the process? There's a review board at HHS for any grants that do, quote, gain of function research. Now, 2 weeks ago, Dr. Fauci told Senator Paul that the grant to Wuhan lab was not, quote, gain of function research. But several respected doctors disagree, say it was. How does this review board process work? Who sits on the board? The truth is, nobody knows. The only thing we know about this board is its chairman, and we only know that because he disclosed it in January 2020. Report here. Chris Hassel, the chairman, disclosed his involvement January 2020 in a talk before the National Science Advisory Board for Biosecurity. He said during the talk that the current definition of what comes in front of his board is, quote, very narrow. Quote, "I'll just probably be more frank than may be appropriate. I think it's too narrow." He then went on and suggested that the government could be funding gain-of-function research that his committee hasn't vetted. There's some important questions there for Dr. Fauci. How about the fundamental question? The fundamental question. Why are we funding research in a lab in Wuhan, China in the first place? Why are we doing that? I think the American people like to know, especially what they've went through over the last year. And just as important, Mr. Chairman, why won't this committee, the only committee in the United States Congress, focus solely on the coronavirus? Why won't we look into how this thing started? I think the American people like an answer to that question.
That was just a little food for thought. Thank you once again for tuning in, everybody. Thank you once again for your support. Secondhand Smoke Podcast. Spin-off of Sunday Night Smoke Podcast. Thank you once again, Tony D, for pulling up in the building. Tony D, y'all. My brother, I just wanted to leave you with something just to think about till the next time we chop it up on a humble.
I mean, they nailed it. What he said nailed it.
We're going to leave it at that.
Exactly.
Tony D, y'all. Thanks again for pulling up, brother. My man.
Appreciate you always.
Peace, everybody. Sunday Night Smoke. We out the door. That secondhand smoke be crazy.
A really exciting development here to have these vaccine passports offered.
Catch us Sunday night, 8 p.m. Hip Hop Junkies from Rap the Crap. Peace, y'all.